always been someone who is obsessed with nature. So he loves everything from fishing and camping, everything in between. And what's really cool is that this reflects in his personality, because in his workspace he has 4 fish tanks. And this is going to be blunt, but if anything, it's honest. I hate them. I hate each and every single fish tank he owns. Not that I don't admire the beauty of nature, but he spends so much time and effort making these fish tanks perfect, and I just find them boring. Regardless of this, on the days in which my state of mind is completely when my state of mind sucks, and sometimes when he's traveling and I have to go feed his fish, I go into his office and I picture a situation. I might be obsessing over Finding Nemo coming out, but to be honest, I picture myself as a fish in his fish tank. Basically, what I think about is someone out of this fish tank explaining to me an environment unknown to me. An environment of air and not water. An unfamiliar space. And I think whether or not I would accept their ideas about this unknown environment, unfamiliar to mine. And I never really had an answer to whether or not I was going to accept this environment until a very weird conversation I had with my grandmother. So prior to this conversation, there was a fitness competition, and this fitness competition relied on me training CrossFit, and a part of CrossFit is weightlifting. So basically, during the competition, a 7-second video of me was released. I was completely crazy, I was screaming, and regardless of the video itself, during the conversation she asked questions like what people had to say about me and what did they have to say about the fact that I was engaging in weight sports, and I was really mad. I was really mad because she was so concerned over what they had to say about me as opposed to what I have to say about myself and my own performance. She said 2 things that I will never forget. At the end of the conversation, she looked at me and she said, "Nahdeen, خلي بالك لحسن يلعب في Hormonatek." And I stopped. But the conversation went on. And the second thing she said was that what you're doing is way too extreme. The thing is that I didn't really, I was mad about what she said, but I've heard these ideas before. I've heard that playing weight sports is it's gonna make me grow a beard and a mustache, and it's gonna turn me into something I'm not. And I realized that all these sayings and ideas were also present in this fish tank that I was born in. So when I went home, I thought about what she said. I thought about those 2 phrases that kept on ringing in my head. So the first phrase about it changing my hormones and whatnot, I thought about it and I looked it up. And I realized that due to certain hormone levels and whatnot and a bunch of scientific stuff, no, it's not going to turn me into a man. But regardless of that, she said that I was going to extremes. And I pictured myself as a blank sheet of paper. A blank sheet of paper with that God created me as. And regardless of how many times you want to fold and unfold this piece of paper into all these different interesting origami shapes, that will not deny the fact that at the end of the day, this paper is still the piece of paper that God created it as. I imagine myself, and that if I want to play weight sports or CrossFit, or if I don't and I want to play ballet, that will not deny the fact that at the end of the day, I'm still the woman I am. And I thought about my grandmother. And I thought about why she said these things to me. And I realized that I can't really blame her. I can't really blame her because she was born in a fish tank where she was raised to believe that playing these weight sports is going to be the reason that she's probably not going to get married. It's the reason why she's not going to ever have kids. And I began to think about how deeply integrated these ideas are in our society. So, considering language, I thought about two words, or two phrases. I thought about the phrase بميت راجل, and I thought about the word استرجل. Take the word, or the phrase بميت راجل. It compares the strength of a woman not to her own physical strength and emotional strength that God has created her with, but to the strength and the capabilities of a man, as if her strength and capabilities, let alone, are not enough. And then there's this استرجل word that people throw around as if it's some type of motivational word. And it basically translates into man up. And what is it about manning up that we're trying to motivate young boys and young girls to become? And even the word راجل. The word راجل, upon its linguistic origin, I realized that the word itself, it comes from the word مرتجل, or to walk. So this historically dates back to when Arab men would walk in very harsh desert conditions, and the women were the ones that are to be placed upon camels. And don't get me wrong, this is probably done out of respect. And regardless of the intentions of the situation and the people in the situation itself, but it's these expectations and limitations that we have put upon young generations, to an extent where young boys are measuring their self-worth by the circumference of their biceps, and young girls are measuring their dignity by stupid thigh gap. And then I thought of an event. I thought about gym class. Gym class abroad was interesting because there was not one push-ups but two push-ups. There were girl push-ups, and then there were not boy push-ups but real push-ups. Which got me thinking. I pictured myself as a mother. I pictured myself as a mother with a young boy and a young girl who refuses to do these real push-ups despite her physical capabilities, with her knees elevated above the ground, simply because she does not want her friends to make fun of her. She does not want to be called a man because that is something that she is not. And then I picture myself as a mother of this young boy who physically is not capable of doing these real push-ups, but once again refuses to do these girl push-ups simply because amongst his friends, he does not want to be any less of a man that his father is. I'm not sure if any of you guys are familiar with the female Egyptian weightlifting team or not. But for those of you who have ever heard of them or about them, you'll know that we do not even, and I'm personally guilty of this, okay? We refuse to look at them as women. Which is funny because they can be mothers, they can be daughters, sisters, and wives, but still. We thought, and I personally thought, that I had the authority to call them something that they're not, something that God didn't create them as. And what's up with that? And finally, I go back to my dad's office. And I think, and I refuse for anyone to put me in these four glass walls and tell me to stay there. I refuse for anyone to call me extreme or radical simply because I want to explore the boundaries beyond them. So please, I know that there's a sea of capabilities out there, so let me freely explore them, Similarly to how anybody wants to explore anything else. And even better, acknowledge the fact that in some cases, there are environments other than your own. Thank you. I'd just like to dedicate this talk to my mother. وكل سنة وانتي طيبة.